Hey there, ready to ditch those dusty old wedding favors and dive into some cool ideas that your guests will actually love? We're talking modern wedding favors, the kind that are both memorable and meaningful.
And thankfully, those tiny plastic champagne flutes are a thing of the past.
Thankfully is right. Our guide for this deep dive is an article called The Best Modern Wedding Favors Your Guests Will Love from Darianna Bridal and Tuxedo. Now, you might be thinking, wait, are favors even still a thing?
Absolutely, but there's been a fascinating shift. We're seeing couples really move away from generic trinkets towards experiences and gifts that reflect their personalities and values. It's less about stuff and more about creating a lasting impression.
Okay, so it's not just about checking a box on the wedding to-do list. It's more like a way to extend the celebration and show appreciation in a thoughtful way.
Exactly, and that's why welcome bags are having such a moment. They're not just practical, especially for guests who've traveled for the wedding, but they can also set the tone for the whole event.
Can you give us some examples of how a welcome bag can go beyond just the basics?
Think about it. A destination wedding on the coast could include sunscreen, a cute beach towel, maybe even a small bottle of local artisan sea salt spray for they just stepped off the beach hair.
Ooh, I love that. It's like a curated experience that starts from the moment they arrive. What about for a more local wedding, maybe? In a city known for its art scene?
Well, you could include tickets to a local gallery, a small art print from an up-and-coming artist, or even a guide to the city's best street art murals.
So creative. It's like giving them a mini adventure before the wedding even begins.
And speaking of personalized adventures, let's talk about the rise of personalized gifts as favors. It's a way for couples to say, we know you and we appreciate you being here.
I'm all for ditching the generic and embracing the unique. What are some of the more creative, personalized favors you've seen?
One couple I worked with created custom-designed playing cards that featured their love story, from how they met to their favorite date night spots. It was a fun and interactive way for guests to learn more about them.
I love that a little bit of their love story that guests can take home and play with. Any other examples that stand out?
Another couple, both huge music lovers, had a local record store curate a selection of vinyl singles for each guest based on a short survey they sent out beforehand about their musical tastes. It was a hit.
No, that's what I call personalized. It's like they gave each guest a little piece of their own soundtrack. It makes those generic picture frames look so well generic.
Right. And it doesn't have to be expensive. Personalized luggage tags, matchboxes with their names, even temporary tattoos with a fun design that reflects the wedding theme.
It's the thoughtfulness that counts, not the price tag. The article also mentions succulents and small plants as favors. I can definitely see the appeal there.
There's something really beautiful about giving a living gift that will continue to grow and thrive, just like the couple's love. It's a symbol of hope and new beginnings.
Plus, they're eco-friendly, which is a bonus these days. And you could get so creative with the pots and decorations to tie them into the wedding's theme or color scheme.
Absolutely. Imagine a rustic wedding with mini succulents in terracotta pots tied with twine, or a beach wedding with tiny air plants nestled in seashells.
Speaking of things that smell amazing, the article also talked about customized candles. They seem like a classic choice, but with a modern twist.
Right. Candles have always been popular, but now couples are going beyond just choosing a scent. They're creating custom labels with their names and wedding date, sometimes even adding a special message or quote that represents their love story.
It's like a little piece of the wedding ambiance that guests can take home and enjoy whenever they want, and the scent can trigger those happy memories. Do you have any suggestions for how to choose a scent that's truly unique and personal?
Well, you could incorporate the scent of the flowers in your bouquet, or choose a fragrance that represents the season or location of your wedding. For example, a couple getting married in a lavender field might opt for a calming lavender scent.
I love that. It's those little details that make a favor feel so special. And speaking of appealing to the senses, let's talk about edible favors. Who doesn't love a tasty treat?
Edible favors are always a crowd pleaser, and they're a fantastic way to showcase local flavors or support small businesses. Imagine gifting guests a jar of honey from a local apiary or a box of artisan chocolates made in your hometown.
My mouth is watering already. I think it's so thoughtful to incorporate local specialties or even tie the favors to the location of the wedding.
Exactly. If you're getting married in a wine region, a mini bottle of local wine would be a perfect fit. Or if you're in a city known for its coffee culture, how about a bag of locally roasted beans?
It's like giving your guests a little taste of the place where you said, I do. It adds a personal touch that they'll appreciate. Speaking of local flavors, let's raise a toast to beverage favors.
Cheers to that. Miniature bottles of alcohol, especially with customized labels, are always a fun option. Or, for something truly unique, you could create a mini cocktail kit with all the ingredients and instructions for your signature wedding drink.
That's so clever. Guests can recreate the cocktail at home and remember those fun memories. And if you want to elevate the experience, you could even gift a bottle of wine with a custom label and a pair of matching wine glasses.
That's a great idea, especially for a smaller, more intimate wedding. It's a sophisticated and thoughtful gesture that they'll enjoy long after the wedding is over.
And let's not forget about those practical favors that guests can use again and again, like personalized shot glasses, stemless wine glasses, or even bottle openers.
Those are all excellent choices. And for those who love to get creative, DIY kits are a fun and engaging favor option.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What kind of DIY kits are we talking about here?
Well, you could do a cocktail kit, like we mentioned earlier, or a s'mores kit, which is perfect for an outdoor or campfire-themed wedding. You could even do a soap-making kit, a candle-making kit, or even a terrarium kit.
Those all sound so fun. And for a wedding near a holiday, you could tailor the kits to the occasion. Ornament making for Christmas cookie cutter sets for Halloween, the possibilities are endless.
Absolutely. It's all about finding those creative ways to make the favors an extension of your celebration and your personalities as a couple.
It seems like the key takeaway here is that modern wedding favors are all about thoughtful personalization and giving guests something they'll truly appreciate and use.
Exactly. It's not about following trends blindly. It's about finding those special touches that make your wedding unique and memorable for both you and your guests. But before we dive into some helpful tips for choosing the right favors for your wedding, I have a question for you.
I'm all ears.
What stands out to you as the biggest shift in wedding favor etiquette? It seems like we've come a long way from those little sugared almonds in a tool pouch.
You're right, it's a world of difference. I think what strikes me is the level of thoughtfulness and personalization that goes into modern wedding favors. It's less about obligation and more about genuinely wanting to give guests something they'll appreciate and enjoy.
I completely agree. There's also a growing awareness of sustainability, which is influencing favor choices. Couples are opting for eco-friendly options like plantable paper goods, seed packets, or even donations to charities in their guests' names.
That's a beautiful way to give back while also celebrating your love. And speaking of tying favors into the overall wedding theme, do you have any tips for how to create that cohesive feel?
Absolutely. Think about the overall aesthetic of your wedding. Are you going for rustic chic, modern, minimalist, or romantic vintage? Once you have a clear vision, you can choose favors that complement the style and color palette.
So for a rustic wedding, you might choose favors like mini potted succulents, wildflower seed packets, or even small jars of homemade jam or honey.
Exactly. And for a modern minimalist wedding, you could opt for sleek, personalized, stationary, geometric-shaped candles, or even a donation to a cause that's meaningful to you as a couple.
It's like each favor becomes a little extension of the wedding's overall story and aesthetic, and it doesn't always have to be about tangible gifts, right? What about experiences as favors?
Experiences are becoming increasingly popular as wedding favors. They create lasting memories and can be tailored to the couple's interests and the wedding's location. For example, if you're getting married near a vineyard, you could offer a wine tasting experience.
Or for a city wedding, maybe a guided walking tour of a historic neighborhood or tickets to a local theater performance. It's a way to give guests a taste of the city you love and create shared memories.
Exactly. And experiences can be budget-friendly too. A personalized scavenger hunt around the wedding venue or a photo booth with fun props are great ways to create interactive experiences without breaking the bank.
Those are great ideas. Now I have to ask, are there any wedding favor faux pas that couples should avoid? I'm picturing those plastic champagne flutes again. Shudder.
While there are no hard and fast rules, it's always a good idea to consider the practicality and longevity of the favor. Avoid anything that's likely to end up in the trash or become clutter in someone's home.
So maybe skip those generic keychains or picture frames that don't really have any personal significance?
Yes, and be mindful of cultural sensitivities. For example, in some cultures, certain colors or symbols have specific meanings, so it's important to do your research and avoid anything that might be considered offensive or inappropriate.
That's a really good point. It's always better to err on the side of caution and thoughtfulness. Now, I know you've worked with countless couples on their wedding favors. What are some of the most common mistakes you see people making?
One of the biggest mistakes is leaving favor selection to the last minute. This often leads to rushed decisions and generic choices that don't reflect the couple's personality or wedding style.
It's easy to get caught up in all the other wedding planning details and push favors to the bottom of the list.
Right. Another common mistake is overspending on favors that guests may not even appreciate or use. It's important to set a budget and stick to it, focusing on quality over quantity.
It's a good reminder that wedding favors are just one small part of the overall celebration. Now, with so many options available, how can couples narrow down their choices and find the perfect favors for their wedding?
Start by thinking about your guests and what they would genuinely enjoy and appreciate. Consider their age range, interests, and lifestyle. If most of your guests are young and active, maybe skip the delicate china teacups and opt for something more adventurous, like a personalized water bottle or a fun outdoor game.
That's a great point. It's all about knowing your audience and tailoring the favors to their tastes. And don't be afraid to think outside the box.
Absolutely. Consider incorporating a personal touch or a unique element that reflects your love story or shared interests. Maybe you both love to cook and could create a mini spice blend kit with your favorite recipe.
Or if you're both avid readers, you could gift a bookmark with a quote from your favorite book, or even donate a book in each guest's name to a local library.
Those are fantastic ideas. Remember, wedding favors are an opportunity to express your gratitude and share a little piece of your joy with your guests. So have fun with it, be creative, and choose something that feels authentic to you as a couple.
Well said. And with all the amazing ideas we've discussed today, I'm feeling inspired to start planning a wedding just for the favors. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought to ponder. If wedding favors are truly about creating lasting memories, what kind of favor would tell the story of your love and leave your guests with a reminder of the joy they shared on your special day?
That's such a beautiful question, and it really gets to the heart of what modern wedding favors are all about. It's not just about the item itself, but the meaning behind it.
I'm already picturing all sorts of creative ideas sparking in our listeners' minds right now.
I know, me too. And that's what we want to hear about. Share your unique wedding favor ideas on social media using our show's hashtag. We can't wait to see what you come up with.
Until next time, happy planning.